How you both doing?
Great. How are you?
I'm well,
Uh,
thank you.
I'm great. It's so cool to be able to talk with both of you. I'm big fans of both of you, so this is super cool. So the film Paint. One question I had while watching it, or one thing I liked about it, was how it's a quirky movie. It's funny and it kind of goes, it exaggerates things in a lot of different directions. But I think it's cool because it's all relatable. Uh, the character played by Owen Wilson, Carl Nargle, is this Bob Ross kind of artist who everybody's kind of enamored with, to say the least, or I should say almost everybody is enamored with him. Wendi, I'll start with you. It made me wonder. We all kind of have that person in our lives. Who was there? Anybody in your young life or your, older life that you found yourself enamored with because of their art, because of their, whether it be a musician or an actor or something like that?
Oh gosh, I fell in love with a painter
Hmm.
um maybe a year before I met my husband. So that'll tell you how that went. But boy was I was just in love with his potential.
Okay.
And if he hadn't just walked out of my life and cut all contact off and just ghosted me, I would still be pining for him.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
the door really had to slam in my face. And I think that's something that should have happened with my character in this movie. Like he needed to cut off all ties with my character and forced her to move on. But instead, she's been hanging on for a couple of decades now, wearing the same juicy sweats. And
Yeah.
it's pathetic.
And Michaela, how about for you? There's always somebody, again, that maybe isn't, they don't walk in the room and, everybody's looking at them right away, but something about their art or what they're doing with their lives, something about them that really just kind of draws you into them. Is there anybody for you like that? And this doesn't have to be romantic either. This can be like even people that you looked up to or, just were really into maybe younger in your career.
I mean, Wendy's really singing my song about I've had talent crushes on people and stayed in things well past their expiration date because of my talent crush that I had on them. But I would say you pretty much described like 99% of the people in my life. Like I really am so happy that I usually just nobody's ever more magnetic than when they're doing their art. And I'm so drawn to people who are kind of in that sort of great flow with their art. So, but I did live in a small town for about 5 years. I lived in Portland, Oregon. And I just remember like the grand dames of the theater who would really hold court at our local pub. And we would all just hang on every single word that they had about that one time at Oregon Shakespeare Festival when they forgot to bring the dagger on stage with them during, and it's just like, oh, tell me more about the theater. So yeah, so it's pretty
That's
much
great.
everybody in my life.
Now, just so people understand too, I found both of your characters to kind of be similar, but maybe at different stages in their, relationship with Carl. Wendi, for you, describe your character in this film and what was fun about playing her.
So my character met the charismatic Carl Nargle probably 20 to 25 years prior to when the movie starts. And like he does, he kind of strings women along because he knows they've got a talent crush. And then he presents them with one of his paintings. And then it's like, oh my God, it's almost like I've been asked to go steady or something like that. But he never commits because he's in love with Michaela's character. And yet he gives us just enough to keep hanging on, you know? And there's a couple of us that have been on the hook for way too damn long. And we need to get our lives started and we just won't do it. And what is it? Is it that we're afraid to face the future because we can't predict that? So it's just easier to live in the past? Or is it that we're about to be confronted with the fact that we're just ordinary. And no one wants to admit that. But we're all ordinary, so what's the big deal? I don't know. But
Well, yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, I mean, in some ways, maybe with a different spin on it, that's kind of, Carl himself, is feeling the kind of imposter syndrome of, some not being good as he once was, or maybe not that, but maybe, the idea that he could be replaced with the new, shiny thing. Michaela, talk to that theme in the movie a little bit in terms of, just this idea that there's always somebody kind of coming up, behind you, or at least people tend to feel that way.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's one of the things that has sort of kept, I think men particularly being afraid that they're going to become irrelevant is something that has been a kind of a scourge on our whole society. If I'm going to take it even bigger, which is that, it's the thing where that we belittle and minimize age and wisdom in our culture, and that we laud youth, which we should. I mean, fresh ideas are good ideas, but if we stop making people feel like age is somehow a bad thing, then I think the two can exist harmoniously a little more. Sorry, those are lofty ideas for this interview, but I just, in terms of speaking to that, I think that, I'm sort of embarking on my 50s here, and I've never enjoyed my career more than I do right now. So I think there's this, I think the imposter syndrome that you were just talking about, and the idea, the fear that somebody's always coming up behind you and is going to take your job is a false notion. But will come to fruition if we allow that to ourselves to be consumed by it. I know I have. I mean, I've had jobs that I think I probably inadvertently maybe cratered for myself because I was so afraid that people were going to find out how old I was and that I didn't really belong there,
Wow. You guys are both so great. Again, I wish you both the best of luck with this film Paint, and also with everything that you both do. So thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you.